positions. Stoicism often presented itself, particularly at first, in a deliberately harsh light, emphasizing doctrines that are so far from common sense as to be paradoxical. However, Stoicism as a philosophy is holistic. That is, its parts can be developed separately, but ultimately the aim is to understand them all in relation to the other parts. Hence, Stoic paradoxes increasingly make sense and acquire conviction as they are appreciated against the background of Stoic arguments and connected ideas. There are thus many ways of teaching Stoicism. Where you begin depends on the audience's level of interest and expertise. Epictetus, a later Stoic, AD circa 50 to 130, taught in a way that appealed directly to his audience's interest in ethical and social matters, and accounts of his teaching have continued to be used as vivid introduction to Stoic thought. The universal aspect of Stoicism is illustrated by the fact that Epictetus, a former slave, was influential on the Stoic reflections of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, AD 121 to 180. Are there really two distinct things operating in Medea? Her plans and her furious anger? How do they relate to Medea herself, who is so lucidly aware of what is going on? One school of ancient philosophers, the Stoics, developed a distinctive view of Medea as part of their ethics and psychology. They think that the idea that there are really two distinct forces or motives at work in Medea is an illusion. What matters in this situation is always Medea herself, the person, and it is wrong to think in terms of different parts of her. After all, she is quite clear about how her thoughts are going. First, she resolves to do one thing, then to do another, but these are both her resolves, decisions that she comes to as a result of giving weight to resentment on the one hand, or love on the other. Medea as a whole veers now in one direction, now in another. How then can she come to a considered judgment as to what to do, and then act on anger, which is stronger than this? What happens, the Stoics think, is that, being in an emotional state, she follows the reasons which go with that state. She seeks revenge because that is how angry people think. But there is no real division within Medea's self. She oscillates between different decisions as a whole. There is no inner battle of parts of her. She is like the example Chrysippus used to explain emotion, a runner who is going too fast to stop, and so is out of control as a whole. When, therefore, she says that anger is master of her plans, what is meant is that anger is in control of them. She is reasoning, but the way she does it has been taken over by anger and achieves its aims. The angry person does not cease to reason. He doesn't act blindly, but his reasoning is in the service of anger. The Stoics think that there are no parts or divisions to the human soul, and that it is all rational. By the soul, they mean the item that makes humans live in a characteristically human way. Emotions are not blind, non-rational forces which can overcome rational resolve. They are themselves a kind of reason which the person determines to act on. It is precisely this, gratifying her anger and being revenged on her husband, that she thinks more advantageous than saving her children, says Epictetus, a later Stoic. Blind fury could not lead to Medea's carefully planned and self-aware revenge. But we say, Medea could not help acting as she did. She was overcome by passion, so surely she had no real choice. No, says Epictetus, she thought she had no real alternative. But this was wrong. She could have adjusted to her loss, difficult though this would be. Stop wanting your husband, and nothing you want will fail to come about, he says. Everything I do, I am responsible for. There is always something else I could have done, some other attitude I could have taken up. To say I am overcome by emotion is to evade the fact that I was the one who acted, who thought at the time that what I was doing was the right thing to do. Epictetus thinks that we should sympathize with Medea, who acted, after all, from a great spirit. We can understand her reasons for revenge, even when we see why she would have done better to reject them. She did not know where the power lies to do what we want, that this is not to be got from outside ourselves, nor by changing and rearranging things. The Stoic view of emotions as a kind of reason is probably unfamiliar, and tends to sound odd when first introduced. I have also plunged into the middle of things by starting with the Stoics, who belong to the period of philosophy after Aristotle, often called